Good morning, cyber friends. This is the Midi Man coming at you again from Walker's Music. Yet another word for the day, Tuesday morning edition, and we give God all the praise and honor as usual. We dare not take any of His glory. God will not share His glory with anyone. And I want to say we give honor to all you cyber friends. You know who you are, and we take pride in you, and we're glad to have you on our team. I want to say one thing this morning. Just look at the title of the video. So let peace be your guide. Let peace be your guide. I never will forget people, and I'm going to try to make this video as informative as I can, but yet it's still I'm going to try to make it brief. I don't want it to go too long. But I remember when a few years back, so it's 2018 now. I think this may have been perhaps, maybe what 2010. I'm not for certain now, but it was during my little tenure when I was matter of fact I was at Mount Calvary. I was playing at Mount Calvary Missionary Baptist Church over here in Shelburne, Georgia at that time, as well as I was playing on Second Sunday at that particular time. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was at New Hope. New Hope Missionary Baptist Church up on 41, where the pastor is my cousin, Reverend Michael Walker, Michael J. Walker. And I believe we were getting ready. We was getting ready for a choir anniversary. I believe it was up there at New Hope at that particular time. And me and Reb had to go up there that particular. I believe it was one Wednesday night, maybe, or maybe it might have been a Thursday night. But I'm not for certain the night it was. But nevertheless, me and Reb were together, and I was telling him about some things that I was trying to cope with at that particular time. Reverend Walker, I never will forget me. My cousin, he told me, he said, well, I'm going to tell you, Ernest. He said, now, Ernest, this is what you need to do now. You got to let peace be your umpire. Now, those of you that know the book and know the word, you know what he's talking about. Let peace be your umpire. In other words, peace, if you got peace, and I never will forget that when you tell you anything, I don't care what it is, any kind of decision you're trying to make, or whatever it might be, let peace be your umpire. In other words, if you don't have peace about it, don't do it. That's what he was saying. If you don't have peace about it, don't do it. And so we was that particular. I think the same night we was coming back from the church, and Red was finna drop me back at the house, and that was a couple. That was a couple that was on the highway. I think they had ran out of gas, and out there, and it was the dark road, dark up there at that time. And I think it was like the fall of the year, because we were getting ready for the choir anniversary, which take place in October. So, it was like in the mid fall of the year, early fall, mid fall. But at any rate, they was out there on the road by themselves, the guy and his wife and everything. And so, what we did, Rev said, well, we stopped. We stopped, and we asked them. We could see they was having trouble with something, but we didn't know exactly what it was. But it just so happened they just had ran out of gas. And so what me and Reb did, we got them and picked them up, and we brought them on in the Shelburne up there at the corner store up there and got them gas, and then we went and took them back out there and put the gas in and everything. Everything was all right, because see, really and truly, you got to be careful in these days and time. You don't really know who to help sometimes, but I got news for everybody. If you do what's right, see, me and Red wouldn't bother nobody. We saw people that was in trouble, and we stopped to help them. Now, believe you, me and Red went by ourselves now, believe me. But nevertheless, we did not let that stop us from helping them people. We didn't know them from Adam house cat. You understand what I'm saying? But we just saw people needed help, and Red, we stopped to help them. Peace was our umpire. Because don't you know, if it had been something, don't you know God gonna take care of your children? If it had been anything that wasn't right about that situation, we wouldn't have had peace with it. I learned something that night from Reverend Walker. I learned something that night from Reverend Walker. Many times I have read that scripture, but I learned the practicality of it on that night when he made it. Because we first started with me, and it ended up going showing us a practical application of that very same thing we was talking about just a few minutes earlier before we saw those people that needed that help. And I'm gonna say here this morning, people, to let you know, ever since Rip told me that, I ain't gonna never forget it. Like I said, Reverend Walker, my cousin, but not only because he's my cousin, but because he's a man of God. In other words, preaching man. Y'all know him and can sing, preaching and singing. That's it. That's it. But knowing the word, let peace be your umpire. There's some things right now. There's some things right now that I'm sitting down thinking about. I'm not at peace with it at all. And I haven't moved yet. Yeah. There are some things that really, that old Mitty man wants to do in the church as well as other places. It's some things that I want to employ, some things that I want to put in motion, but I ain't got peace with it. And I haven't moved yet. See, this is the thing. See, I won't get in no trouble if I wait on peace. See, in other words, when you don't have peace with that thing, that means God is telling you, nope, don't move, don't do it, don't move, don't move. And I know every one of you have had that place. Now, you may not, I ain't saying that you a preacher, you may not be a Sunday school teacher, nothing like that, but you got a conscience and you got a mind. What I'm saying is you have done things straight out of order. You did not have peace with that thing, but you did it anyway. And you ended up regretting it. Every time you're going to regret it. I know I can look back. I mean, we got hindsight, but we don't have foresight. Well, we got hindsight. I can look, excuse me. Ooh, I need some peppermint, y'all. I can look back on my life and I can see all the places that I've been, every one of them. And I can look and I can tell the messes I made, the one that I was warned about, didn't have peace with it, did it anyway, found out, wrong decision. You're gonna always pay people. It's not according to when, it's not according to how much, but it's just when. I say it like that. But when you make wrong decisions, you pay for them. And you know, life is like a boomerang. Life is like a boomerang. People don't realize that. But of those of you that know anything about a boomerang, when you throw it out there, it don't come back to the person next to you. It comes back to the person that throwed it out there. That's the way it's made. In other words, when you dig a ditch, I remember my cousin Ray told me this too. I know we'll get it right down there in my cabin. He said, when you dig a ditch, you know what? You got to already be in the ditch to dig it. So in other words, you already in the ditch that you were digging. Don't worry about nobody else falling in the ditch you did. You gonna fall in it because you already in it. You know, people, we could learn a lot. We could learn a lot from people that we would just listen. You see, the problem with most of us, and I got a bad problem with that. I ain't never liked everybody talking at the same time. Come on, let one person talk and let the rest of us listen. That's the way you learn. But most people not, everybody want to talk at the same time. I ain't never could stand that. You could learn a lot if we would listen. A whole lot of time we don't listen. People try to tell us, keep us out of a bad situation. People try to tell you things. They already know. See, people done walk this road that you were walking on before. They done walked it before you, so they could tell you some things that may save you some heartache and trouble if you would only listen. But we refuse to listen, and guess what? Bam! There it is. There it is. But you see, experience is the other thing. You got, see, in other words, I can't help how bad I want to deter you from doing things. Like, cause see, I don't have children of my own. But what I'm saying is, it's just like a parent, natural parent. They got natural children and everything. They be trying to keep them out of a bad situation. No matter how you try to tell them, most of the time, that you got to let them experience it for themselves, and then they'll know better. When the Bible tells us that when you go and you try to protect, yeah, it ain't nothing wrong with trying to protect people and keep them from out of trouble and everything. But sometimes you got to let people go to the school of hard knocks. That's the only way they'll learn. And even God does us that way. You know, God don't get us out of, He don't keep us out of everything. He carries us through things. In other words, God didn't keep Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego out of the flame. He kept them through the flame. He didn't keep them from going in that furnace. He went in the furnace with them. God didn't keep Daniel out of the lion's den. He just went down in the den with him. So in other words, there are a lot of things that we have to experience. We have to learn by experience. But then there are some things that you can learn by word of mouth if you would take heed and let peace be your umpire. People, that is a true. Now, if you don't listen to nothing else I say, please listen to that one. If you ain't got peace, and I'm saying ain't, yes, ain't. If you ain't got peace with a thing, if something, I don't care whether you trying to get out of it or in it, you better make sure some peace is there, because if you ain't got no peace, you finna make a mess. That is God's way of trying to keep you out of a mess, because he won't give you peace with it. It letting you know something is not right. This is how a lot of people get swindled. People, they get swindled on the thing. They already had the feeling that something wasn't right, but they didn't have peace with it, but they did it anyway. Come on, people, learn. Let us learn from our mistake. And then let us listen. Please let us be willing to listen. Let's stop doing so much talk, but listen some. You know, you can get your chance to talk, but I just ain't never like nobody that try to talk over you. If somebody talking, if they are talking, you hush and listen. Amen. This is Mitty Man saying whatever you get into, if God ain't in it, people come on out of it, because it's going to come to nothing. We supposed to have Bible study tonight, Lord willing, 11 o'clock, same time as always, 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we look forward to see some of you there. Those of you that listen by the web, hopefully you will be listening to the night study. I'm not very certain where I'm going to come from tonight, but we'll take care of that bridge when we get to it. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. In other words, with that being said, this Mitty Man saying peace and good day.